We're very fortunate to meet Jim and Tony. Would have been probably about 2 months ago in town, and we discussed the idea of what they're about with the magnetising the water for agriculture. And I was a bit sceptical at first, and so the rest of our family members, and we said, oh, we'll give it a try. There's a lot of benefit from what they're saying. Let's give it a bit of a go. It's going to be early stages to find that out, like it is autumn. We can't tell you much about nutrients or nutrient tie-ups or improvement in fruit or anything like that. But there are other members in this room that will be able to discuss that later on. But what we have done, we've measured, we know our system, we've measured the restraints, the capacity, the water volumes, how our shifts run on citrus, how they run on vines, and we actually measured the data. We can go back on our computer system and see what our shift requirements are for water volume and pressures. To water all our vines, we could never do it all on one shift. We always had to split the shifts up. And when we did try, the systems were, it was unable to handle the capacity required just on two 100 horsepower pumps. When we did try, you could only get up to about 420 kPa pressure to supply all of those valves. And after we installed the magnets, we found that the pressure went up to 480, running all of those valves. We ran around all that day, testing every particular block, and we rang up Jim on Anzac Day. We said, we better not break his chops because he's probably in the march down George Street. We rang him up and go, no, I'm not down there. I said, well, I've got some good news for you. I said, this is only early stages, Jim. I said, but I just got back from holidays. The boys installed it while I was gone, and these are the results. And he said, look, we're not here to, play with anyone. We are dead set about this technology. It does work. Our other results that we've measured, we actually measure the water volumes. And when your system's running under pressure, I guess you could see how much more it can gain. And when we checked on our scheduling, it had that we were running, when we were trying to run it under pressure at all those vines, they were running at about 520 cubic metres of water an hour. The increase on that, after adding the magnetised capsules onto those main lines, increased it to 570 cubic metres of water an hour. So that's an extra 30,000 litres of water per hour gain just by changing the viscosity of the water. From that there, we then went a step further, and we tried it on our citrus program. And we know that our pumps comfortably run the citrus program, so we checked them on a power level. On the graphs, it showed how much the draw was for running all those citrus blocks. The current, it was running at about 50 hertz of power, the strain from the main transformer. After infusing them with putting the magnetised capsules on the main line, we found that the graph indicated a reduction down to 45 hertz of drain. So that's an extra 10% decrease just in power, 10 to 15% gain in actual water volume and pressures, and they're just the starters. And we've also had trials on penetration. I'll show some photos, you can probably pass them around shortly. There's some photos on how we irrigated. The way we irrigate, we've created the facility where the water, even when we flooded, it just used to pool underneath the trunks of either vines or citrus. And where when we used to do a 8-hour full-on shift with non-magnetised water, you'd find that the water would always pool. It'd have the inability to penetrate through the ground. With the way that water works through this magnetised technology, it increases penetration. So we said, let's try it again with 8 hours of water after they installed the units. And you'll see the photos. Even after a bit of rain, we looked and it appeared that we didn't even irrigate. That's how good it was. The penetration, the water disappeared. And during our stages of RDI with our grapevines, we use soil monitors across our farm, and we've graphed all the details for all the citrus varieties, all the wine grape varieties. With our Shiraz during RDI, come about the end of October, we find that once we deplete the soil profile capacity, we find that we struggle up until the winter to refill all that profile down to 3 feet in some areas of the farm, in their worst places. After installing the magnet capsules on those main lines, we found, and even noticing how the water didn't pool anymore, we found that we went back to our graphs and those graphs had gone through the roof. So we dug and we found an even further situation later on, that even the limestone, you can actually grab the limestone, you can actually break it. Now, you never were able to do that before. And in certain areas, there's been a control area, we've photographed that. We've got certain test areas in the worst parts of the farms, and we can find that those results are mind-blowing. But to tell you more about the science, I think I was leaving that more to Jim. And we can't stress it enough how so far the early stages are that positive. So I think come later on, when we experience a full 12 months of the growing season, hopefully we will see what everyone else has experienced, to have used it with the nutrients unlocking, more plant vigour, more water uptake, more aeration of the soil. All those positive benefits should be quite easy to see and document.